Hi, I'm Josh Carving, and welcome to another Death Battle prediction video. But first, Madara versus Eisen. As expected, Madara did end up taking it, though interestingly enough, they did have the stats much closer, so it did end up coming more down to the aforementioned character hacks countering each other, and who had better resistances to said hacks. I think the real standout thing with this fight is the animation. Holy shit, that was a really, really good one. Considering how much of that was probably custom made, like all of it, they have really come a very far way with the puppet style animation. Back when they first introduced it around, I think it was like Miles versus Static, it was a bit more rough. Like, you could kind of tell, like, when the parts would, like, kind of split off and you would be able to see the empty space there, like, and, like, Esdeath versus, Gray, it was kind of still coming into form, but with these recent ones, like, the spread animations have been stellar. So, definitely a really good animation. The double fake-out's always classic. You kind of had to do it with a character like these two, where, like, until I saw the KO screen, I couldn't be sure whether or not the fight was actually over. And that's a great way to go for these two. So, the only stuff that I think looked a tad rough was the white dragon, like the spirit dragons that Eisen made. Those could have potentially used a couple more frames, just because of the fact that, like, they were a bit like photoshopped image kind of coming in, and like they could have had a bit more on that. But honestly, they spent so much time with everything else for this episode that, like, yeah, definitely it's fine for them to cut a corner or two. And that brings us to the next one, which is Saitama versus Popeye. I feel like this isn't going to be a very long prediction video, in all honesty, considering, Saitama about to get deaded. Gonna get deaded real hard. I find it interesting because, people are like, oh man, Saitama versus Goku, that's a real good fight. But then Popeye, who is probably weaker than Goku, is still... like, everyone seems to accept that Popeye is going to kill him. Like, I find that very interesting because Popeye's not as strong as Goku. So it's like, I feel like it's just people going, oh, Toon Force, he wins. Which, I mean, to be fair, true. Saitama doesn't really have much of a counter to being punched into turning into a cape stand. In fact, I really hope that's how... well, I don't think the fight's going to end with something like that. It'll probably play more into the fact that Saitama finally got the fight that he always wanted, which is good. It's going to be very interesting to see some of the reactions to this one, but I think most people are kind of on Popeye's side. He has feats of punching people to Saturn, and, like, he's damaged the sun several times. He's, just all sorts of shit, and his punches sending people to Saturn applies to his own punching speed because, that's how physics works. So just Saitama doesn't really have the speed or the strength to keep up with him. And that's kind of the problem with Saitama, is he's absolutely a stat brick. If you have higher numbers than him, he can't really beat you. He's not a character who has some sort of other ability to fall back on. Like, if Popeye was a bit outstatted here, you might be able to make the case that the transmutation stuff and, like, being able to, like, revive himself quickly, like, those things could make a comeback. But, like, with Saitama, it's just, oh, he's outstatted. Bye. So, that's basically how it is here. Saitama gonna win. I think it's 3D. I think they've said that much, but it's going to be really interesting to see Popeye in 3D. There was that one planned movie that looked alright, but that got canned, I think, in favor of the Emoji Movie, so lovely. Right, and that'll probably do it for me then for this season of Death Battle. I might make a video in the midst of the season break, kind of going into if they tease any characters or anything in particular like that. And I am still working on that top 10 most wanted death battles that are very, very niche. I am still working on that. There's been a lot of things going on, and most recent one of those things is, Endwalker. So, yeah, I'll be working on it at some point. Have yourselves a great day.